Really quick biography. I was raised intensively Mormon. I believed everything, like every single little detail of Mormonism. I debated with myself God's physiology. Does God have an appendix? Why or why not? What is the state of God's facial hair? And so that was through undergrad. And then I went to grad school and learned that I was wrong. You know, as will happen when you study religion academically, but I just got really creative. And so I like reframed Mormonism and believed in reincarnation and all sorts of stuff, but I still believed in all the basics. And then I started teaching world religions at Westminster College, and that's when the bottom fell out. And I became agnostic, and I realized that religion is something that we as humans do. And around that time, I wanted to make religion better, like existing religions. I didn't want to start anything new, but then I realized that that nothing is more powerful than religion, as we'll discuss. In fact, when I teach world religions, first day of class, I offer students an automatic A, first day of class, if they can name any cultural institution more powerful than religion. And there isn't one. Nothing gets in our minds. Nothing hacks our psychology more than religion does. And I think that one of the great crises of our time is that there's so little that motivates us beyond our own preference. In fact, one of the main assumptions that I'll be working with, talking about the spiritual training regimen, is that we aren't even disciplined to do what we ourselves want to do. If you think about your favorite book in the world, or your favorite movie in the world, or your favorite activity, or things you know that are good for you, how often do you do it? You know, it's the New Year's resolution problem. You know, we are different versions of ourselves, and one of the problems is that we don't have the discipline to be our best selves all the time. So my biography has landed me as a religious humanist. And what I mean by that is I'm a humanist who takes human nature very, very seriously, and also takes the power of religion very seriously. In class, I ask the question, is there a religion of one person? Can you have a religion with only one person in it? And usually the answer is no, as we'll talk about I'll define religion in just a minute. But we're going to try today. We're going to push the limits and do a choose your own religion. And you are going to make your own religion today. So the challenge is it possible to gain the benefits of religion without religion? And so there are multiple ways to do this. I think you need at least 3 approaches to fix religion. One is what I call religion better than true, the clunkier definition, religion so good it doesn't need to be true in order to justify its investments. Do you follow that?
Yeah.
So a religion so good that if you stopped believing, you'd be like, no problem, you know? It's still so good that I just want to do it anyway. Unfortunately, that's not what religion usually does. Religion usually, I was talking to a friend who also has a nonprofit, and he said, you know, Jared, we've never really beat the story, do what I say, and you'll be blessed forever. Don't do what I say, and you'll be punished forever. We've never done better than that. It's a very simple story. And functionally, heaven is the best stuff you can imagine times forever, and hell is the worst stuff you can imagine times forever. And I wonder what we can do. I actually think sports is a really good target, because people act crazy around sports. They enter ecstatic states, they engage in superstition, all sorts of things, but they usually don't kill people over sports.
Well,
Sometimes, but not often. And if we kill people as rarely with religion as sports, we'd be doing really, really well.
Yeah, really.
Okay, so the problems and paradoxes of religion are that on one hand, as I said, we as humans are very limited. It's very rare that we humans act in our own self-interest. Like, what's wrong with that? We respond to the immediate context. It's rare, you need to be incredibly enlightened, to say, let me take a moment and consider what's in my best interest. What would really be good for me? And I'll do that. Nope. We are responding with our monkey brains to whatever is pushing us in the moment. And so, limitations of human nature, we have a shortage of discipline. We don't carry out our desires, or the desires of our best selves, very much. We have a shortage of focus. Even if we want to do something for a day or for a week, we have a hard time following through. And we are incredibly impacted by context. Advertisers know this. They spend billions of dollars manipulating us. And it's very sobering to realize that most of us would do almost anything, given the right or the wrong context. And so my question with religious humanism is, can we adjust our contexts in a rigorous way to create a kind of operating system for human nature in order to be our best selves? And we need to take into account, or we need to care for people who are associated with religion and those who aren't associated with religion. That's everyone. In those who aren't associated with religion, you need to take care of people who aren't associated and don't want to be, and those who aren't associated and do want to be. So the spiritual training regimen that I'll be talking about for the next few minutes is for people who don't necessarily want to be associated with a rigorous community. I think that we basically need to found new denominations. That's a different topic. The only thing that can compete with religion is religion. But again, that's different. What I'm talking about with the spiritual training regimen is how can you personally gain the benefits of religion without organized religion. It's kind of a backdoor approach to religion. So as I said, nothing motivates more powerfully than religion, but to do dumb things usually. Religious people usually care about gay marriage and taboos and ancient norms and what they think is right, rather than the urgent problems or even well-being. Religion kind of accidentally or incidentally gets at well-being. One of the head-scratchers is that religion does work. This quote is from the American Psychological Association Handbook of Religion, Psychology, and Spirituality, which I think it's just wonderful it exists. So, individual differences in religiosity are related to a bewildering wide array of behaviors and outcomes, including longer life, fewer depressive symptoms, higher levels of pro-social behavior, better marital functioning, less crime, delinquency and drug use, higher school achievement, and even more frequent engagement in health behaviors. These associations are robust and have been replicated with people from many religions among many nations. So religion makes us better at a high cost, but it does make people better. So why is religion so powerful, and what is it? Religion is an interconnected system of belief and ritual in the context of community in reference to transcendent reality. And each of those elements is important, and each of those elements does work. For example, literal belief can push you a lot farther than metaphorical or symbolic or non-literal belief. Again, because religion hacks our psychology in very powerful ways. And there are a lot of benefits of religion. So individual versus community benefits. Individual, positive psychology has identified the elements of PERMA. Positive emotion, engagement or flow, relationships, meaning and achievement. And again, we need to take seriously the fact that religion does all of those things better than alternatives to religion. I think that we humans have better things than religion. We have better cultural inventions than religion. Oasis is better than most religions. Unitarian Universalism is better than most religions, and yet, not popular. Sorry. You know, and so that's, how do we create something good that can compete with Islam? Now, Islam is most often good, or Catholicism, but again, these are ancient cultural technologies that have a lot of problems. But again, I mean, Sam Harris has this challenge, give me a question for which there has been a scientific answer, but where the religious answer is better. Why are we here? That wins. Like, not how did we get here, science answers that, but why are we here? Purpose. Religious, you are the center of the universe and God cares what you do. That's a better story than you are here to replicate your DNA. Just not very motivating. Now, community, we'll get a little bit more into this, but religion, this is, again, challenging, and I think we need to take it seriously. Conservative social structures get shit done a lot better than liberal social structures. One of the problems is that stability and fairness are at cross purposes. Because if something is fair, you need to listen to everyone all the time, and nothing gets done. Whereas conservatism, you believe in everything so strongly, you just get it done. So basically, religious humanism, as I imagine it, is liberal ideals in a conservative structure. So we'll see how that goes. The power of ritual. We're going to focus on ritual because the spiritual training regimen is very ritually intensive. Many scientific studies have demonstrated the power of the power of ritual. So I picked this image because it is two intensively ritual environments, religion and sports, that overlap. Superstition is very high in sports, both players and participants. And so sports is a near religion, not a very productive one, but it's a near religion. So this is Richard Sosas is an anthropological sociologist, and he blew my mind when he made the argument that harmful elements of religion do important work. And it's this idea of high-cost signaling, because as a liberal, I don't want harm. I don't want anyone to ever be harmed. It's like, oh, the good stuff. Let's just have all the good stuff in the religion and then get rid of the harmful stuff. Well, unfortunately, the theory of high-cost signaling states that when we do costly behaviors like wear uncomfortable underwear or have long beards and clothes in the middle of winter or go clean buildings early Saturday morning, when we do these things, that actually approximates trust. Like, you can trust the people who do the nonsensical rituals that you are doing. And this is one reason why fraternities and sororities are so powerful with hazing. Because even though they're controversially bad, or they do harm, that bonds us as humans in these very powerful ways. Because you know that people do things because they're a member of the group, not because it's in their own self-interest. So paradoxically, it's when we do stupid things together, and even harmful things together, that we can trust each other. Again, a real head-scratcher. Individually, and this is sobering stuff.
You're saying a lot of stuff here that's just blowing my mind.
Individually, rituals manage anxiety, they increase self-control, self-discipline, they aid with life transitions. They are a cultural and a psychological technology that has co-evolved with our brains. So let's take advantage of them. And Alain de Botton has Atheism 2.0 TED Talk and Religion for Atheists, but I want to go a lot farther and create a structure within which we can do these rituals. So choose your own religion. Let's look at, I propose that we can create your own, you can create your own religion. You're going to need help to hold to it, but you can create one. Belief, what do you personally believe? What do you stand for? Ritual, this is where we're going to focus. How do you create structure in your life so that you can be your best self, so you can accomplish your goals? Community, I have a back door to community. We're going to get there in just a moment. And then transcendent reality, this is a tricky one depending on what you believe. Really quick, my 5 working models of God. I joke that you can't be an atheist in my presence. Because my 5 working models of God are personified ideas. Sorry, you can't disbelieve in God as personified ideas. It's impossible. Congratulations, you're now a theist. Humans plus technology, aliens, and oversoul. That's not the topic. But transcendent reality, we are wired psychologically to connect into something bigger than us. And so whatever is transcendent is whatever plugs you into the sense of awe and motivation and inspiration. Okay. Spiritual training regimen is you only better. It is a technology that leverages your own personal preferences. And it structures your personal preferences. So these are things that you already do. The spiritual training regimen is just going to be a technology, an app, eventually, that holds you accountable to the things you like. And you need to know yourself. So for example, how much novelty do you need? How much stability do you need? Do you get anxiety? Are you OCD? How much ritual is advantageous for you? What's the sweet spot for you personally of structure in your life? A lot of people are like chaotic, spontaneous, fly by the seat of their pants. And it works for them. So the elements of the spiritual training regimen are intention. This goes a lot deeper than what is your favorite movie or what is your favorite book. It is what behaviors, ideas, principles, texts have changed you and will change you. It is actually a quest to answer the questions that I'm going to pose to you today. And then mindfulness. Ellen Langer is a pioneering researcher on mindfulness, and she blew my mind when she said, meditation, running, they're one step removed. It's mindfulness. Mindfulness is really the focus. And so everything with the spiritual training regimen is to do mindfully, to live mindfully. And then the trick is to be consistent, and that is what will hack your psychology, to find a way to hold yourself accountable and then reward yourself. In the spiritual training regimen, as I envision it, is going to be gamified, so you will literally level up as you succeed in it. Pokemon Go is a really great example of gamified, augmented reality that is actually having a lot of psychological and social benefits. So reverse engineering religion. Here are some elements of religion that we can apply in our personal lives. First, there's sacred space. And you need proximate sacred space and distant sacred space. I'll get into that in just a moment. What I mean by sacred time is, what do you do in your day? How do you punctuate your time in a way that changes you, motivates you, inspires you, and helps you human well? So these are elements of religion that involve sacred time. You have meditation, prayer, sacraments, gratitude, relationships, physical disciplines, and mental disciplines. And then we have life transitions. We need to navigate life transitions through ritual. And then we have personal myth and meaning. And this is where a lot of people stumble when they leave religion, because it's really difficult to come up with your own myth and meaning. It's a little bit like saying, okay, I want you to invent your own language. Okay, ready, go. A few incredibly gifted linguists have tried, but even then, the inventor of Klingon just modifies existing languages. To invent a new language from scratch, we use what we already have. So I'm going to invite you to figure out your scripture, hymns, guiding principles, vows, who is your personal God. Don't worry, it can be you. Ancestor worship, saints, journaling, and art. So these are some powerful ingredients in religion. So sacred space. Where in your lives do you feel the most clear, calm? Where do you feel like your best self? Where do you go to recharge? You just feel on. You feel like you can do anything. And what we need both proximate sacred space that you can go to multiple times a day, and then we need a distant sacred space where it takes some effort. So frequently, your proximate sacred space could be the car, it could be your backyard, it could be the bedroom, it could be your office. It's a place where you can kind of go and be mindful there. But we also need a distant sacred space. Is it a mountaintop? Is it a particular location? Is it a walk? Is it a specific location? And again, all of these steps should be effortful. They should be difficult to figure out. Some of them, the answers will come really quickly. But it should be very meaningful when you have that aha moment, like, yes, this is where I go. If it's a hike, is it a particular hike? Is it a particular place? And then we're going to have consistency. So we don't think about this, but the spiritual training regimen tells you to go to the sacred space again and again and again. And it reminds you, now it's time to go on your favorite hike. Now go to your room. Mommy and daddy timeouts. We all know how effective those are. So sacred daily rituals, and again, this is where we're going to need a lot of help to do these. So meditation has been scientifically demonstrated. It changes your brain. Like meditation changes your brain. So first you need to figure out what kind of meditation works for you. I like mindfulness meditation. Last week I did tattoo meditation. Getting my tattoos were ritual behaviors for me. Life transitions, we'll talk about that in just a moment. So you can figure out which form of meditation. And another aspect of the spiritual training regimen is you have to lock yourself in. You have to make these decisions and then not change them for like 2 months, 4 months, 6 months. Because the power of religion rests in the relationship between you and the behaviors. The Bible's not that great a book. I'm sorry, it's not. And I say that as a Bible scholar. But because people return to it again and again and again and again and again, you actually get an overabundance of meaning. People get out of the Bible and the Book of Mormon and other scripture more than what is actually in it, if actually in it is a real thing. And so why religion is so powerful is because it engages our human psychology at a rigorous, strenuous level that most of us, we crave it, but we don't know how to manufacture it in our own lives. One of my premises with a spiritual training regimen is this will make you more human. Like, it will make you a better human because you're engaging in the technology of religion. So prayer, some of you may be allergic to the idea of prayer, but it's very powerful. It is a focusing thing. And who do you pray to? I actually pray to myself. Like, I'm not kidding. I did all the way on the drive here. I pray to my true self. I pray to my best self. I ask myself for greater resources. I ask for solutions to problems, and it works. Like, I've actually had incredibly spiritual experiences with my true self. Sacrament, and this is where we get to coffee, scotch, water, whatever. What do you drink ritually? What do you sip? It could be coffee, again, coffee, tea, water. Let's say your ritual drink, your sacrament is orange juice. You are going to get a juicer that you only use for your sacrament. You're going to buy orange, and this is what I mean by mindfulness and ritual. You're going to get oranges that they're not normal oranges, they're the sacramental oranges. You only use these oranges for the sacrament. You have a special little cup that you only use for your sacrament. And even if you don't believe in anything, you will start developing myth around the oranges. Because that's how we work and if you drink mindfully, if you sip, it will have benefits in your own life. And you'll start looking forward to this special sacrament. And so, again, coffee. Have a special coffee grinder. Have a special type of coffee that you only use. Have a special mug. Again, if you have scrupulosity or OCD or anything, this is going to freak you out, so don't do it. And that's why you need to figure out your level. So your sacrament may need to be any orange juice in any cup, but you drink your sacrament at a particular time in the day or whenever you need it, and you go to your sacred space and you do nothing but sip your sacrament. And it will change your life.
Can it be chocolate?
Sure. You know, like food or drink. But again, it really is hacking your own psychology, because the wonderful thing is your brain will start doing things whether you want it to or not, and you will find meaning and significance, and you'll have the calming, stabilizing impact of ritual. Gratitude. I kept a gratitude journal for years, like write down 3 things that you're grateful for. This will change your life. Relationships. Imagine if there were a particular time of day, and again, the app is going to remind you to do all these things. In the meantime, you need to figure out how to do it. Text someone, tell them they mean something to you. Tell them you're grateful for them. Tell them you love them. This is social psychology. Daily discipline. What is something physical that you can do every day? What is something mental that you can do every day? Whether it's, I haven't done this yet, I would like to read for an entire hour before bedtime, preferably out of a paper book. That is a ritual that I am working on applying in myself. So let's see, then, hold on, I need to go over here real quick. I just got a warning. Okay, so life transitions. Virtually every single religion ever has the same life transitions. Birth, maturity, puberty, marriage and death. Everyone. And this is incredibly hard to approximate when you're not a member of a community. Are you really going to celebrate when your daughter first has her period? That's a universal one. They have rituals like that. I've heard of some, I think this is best on a family level. But with life transitions, we can do it ourselves. Are you grieving? Do you have a new relationship, or did you lose a relationship? Did a pet die? Are you excited and proud about something? Were you just hired? Did you fulfill a goal? You can design a ritual to celebrate that, and it will be more rewarding and powerful than if you just... See, we already do this in really sloppy ways. I just got a promotion, I'm going to go drink some beer with the guys, or whatever. But if you do this more mindfully and intentionally and say, I'm going to do some research and figure out what will actually help me the most. Personal myth and meaning. Remember, this is what religion does best. And so it's challenging to get at that level of potency. So scripture, hymns, guiding principles, vows, deity, ancestor worship. We're going to go through each of these. So scripture, this would take more time than we have, but what are the most meaningful, motivating, and inspiring texts? And if we have a little bit extra time when I finish through this, we can talk about that. I actually asked this on Facebook and got some really wonderful answers. One thing that really helped me, why I put it up there, in X-Men, Days of Future Past, young Charles Xavier, Professor X, appears to his older self, and he says, I don't want your pain. I don't want your suffering. I don't want to feel all the pain in the world. And this is, I call myth reality one step removed. Because we feel these things. We feel the cost of empathy. And yet here is something in art. And older Professor X says, if you can bear the pain, you'll become more powerful than you've ever imagined. And if you can maintain hope while bearing that pain, basically you can change the world. Like, that's what you need to do. So again, it's not your favorite book, it's which book changes you. And I invite all of us to maybe have one shelf or something where we start putting our books, create our own canon. I haven't done this either, I need to work on it. So what is the scripture? Hymns, sacred playlists. We already do this. I mean, yeah, I like James Blunt's Goodbye My Lover is my breakup song. It's amazing. We seek out songs that make us feel a particular way at particular times, so this gives it structure. And if you figure out your own hymns, you can start listening to them regularly. Like the Bridge of Khazad-dûm, I play that on repeat. Like there's a YouTube of 10 hours of it, and I just listen to it again and again and again while I work. So again, these are things that you need to figure out yourself. Here the computer's again. So next, this is where it gets challenging. I mean, it's, what are your personal 10 commandments? And another thing that we don't appreciate enough, and that religion has, and I'll be honest, this is one thing where Unitarian Universalism, things like Oasis, kind of fall short. They're not particular enough. They're not specific enough. And this is where, like, we love you no matter what, and you can believe whatever you want, falls short. What are your own personal principles? And there are vague things like be a good person. Which ones are most important to you?
Values.
What?
Values.
But what is your most important values? Like, we all have values, but there needs to be a hierarchy. So what are the guiding principles? So for example, what promises do you make to yourself? See, isn't this intuitive once you see it? But we don't think to do it. We don't take the time. So for example, and I harm myself because of this, my personal God is willpower, is will. The most important trait to me is will. And I do things that I feel are right even when it harms me, because my principle and well-being are my two pillars. Like, I care very, very much that I follow through on what's right, and I try to, what's right is whatever maximizes well-being. Like, those are my own personal posts. And I still am developing vows in my own life to create that structure. Sacred figures, these are fantastic. Order some. So who would your God be? It could be something like Mother Earth. Yeah, you have
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, Carl Sagan, and Bill Nye. That's hyper-focus and rationality, but that's a different topic. So we, for example, your God could be, goddess could be, or could be goddess, Mother Earth. I personally think the personification of ideals is a very powerful God. So for example, is it love? Is it courage? Is it imagination? Is it willpower? Is it empathy? And you can pray to it. Do you see how powerful that could be? I mean, because we as humans are designed to think concretely, to think specifically. And so even if you don't believe in any God literally, you could still personify love and say, you know, Mother Love, I'm having a really hard time. I'm having a really hard time being a good friend. I'm having a really hard time with this particular struggle. Please help me, and it'll work. You know, because of the way that our psychology works. Ancestor worship. This, you know, Mormons do have family history going. That's a good thing. Is there someone in your history that you particularly identify? Learn about them. Collect their stories. Remember them and use them to help you day to day. This is one of my favorites. Who are your saints? I actually want to collect like the 100 humanist saints of people who have impacted the world. See, and we think vaguely, oh, I really respect whoever it is. But if you pick a personal saint, then you can say, oh, what would Leonardo da Vinci do in this moment? You know, what would Oprah do, which a lot of people do say. You know, what Harriet Tubman or Ada Lovelace, or, you know, what do you value? Who inspires you? And again, most of us casually are like, oh, I like them, or, you know, they're cool. But we don't use the power of religion to say, how can I use this particular person, could be Captain America, Batman, whatever, to shape you day after day. So wrapping up, owning your own story. I'm an obsessive journaler. Journaling can be very, very powerful in a way, and you can work through all of these questions. That's part of journaling. You can hold yourself accountable. You can say, how am I doing? So if you want to, and also art and creation, whatever level of expressiveness that is. So again, how do you apply this personally? So remember, first, just take the time, say, what are your texts? What are your songs? Who are your heroes? And then once you figure that out, not only will it help you in your life, but it'll be great party conversation. And this is an amazing way to get to know people. And this is the back door, really quick, back to the community. Okay, so do all these things mindfully, figure out a way to be consistent with yourself, and hold yourself accountable. So what I personally am going to do with the spiritual training app, the spiritual training regimen, is it is going to be a website pretty soon. And then I'm going to create a book where you can like fill out everything and hold yourself accountable. And eventually, within 2 years, I'm hoping, it's going to be an app where it has notifications. And here's a really fun part. And this is what I meant by the spiritual training regimen is a backdoor to community. There's going to be social media check-ins. And you're going to be able to follow people like on Instagram. And so even if you don't need to opt in, even if you don't want to do the spiritual training regimen, and you start following your friends, you'll be inspired. Because you will hear their songs, you will read their texts, and so there will be check-ins, you know, like, Bill just went to his bedroom and sacramentally, you know, drank his tea and listened to this particular song. And that will start bringing things to mind. And then the community comes together because we want mentors, or we're like, oh, your sacred space is the same as my sacred space. Or let's get together a group of people who all use Lady Gaga as our hymns. Or, you know, and so in that way, you start feeling this connectedness, even though the spiritual training regimen is for people who are very independent, very privileged, do what they want. But as they themselves go through all these rituals, they start seeking out people who do the similar rituals and meaning, And that is how you simultaneously create a religion of one that then plugs you into a quasi-religious community. Thank you.
Wow.